Every higher race has an aesthetic style that it uses to express itself. The stronger and more confident that inward belief, the clearer the forms that it will use to delineate life, give value and meaning to its symbols, and refine its tastes. The Batman character, as expressed in Christopher Nolan's version, is a modern, technological, intellectualized form of Western motifs of the past. We see the Hamlet character played out in Batman as he struggles internally with the development of the story in a dynamic way. If we look at the style of the Batman movies, they are incredibly Gothic in their aesthetic tendencies. Take the Batmobile form. This civilized spiritual form strongly hints of a Gothic cathedral as expressed through a machine with its lines, shapes, forms, style, and color palette. Batman is often depicted standing on the ledge of a rooftop as a gargoyle would have been in an earlier age. The Batman character stylistically echoes of the previous age's Knights of the Round Table with a deep sense of loyalty and duty. Look at the Batman character's helmet. It strongly hints of the Viking winged helmet, but in mathematical, technical forms and lines. The color scheme forebodes of a dark yearning, such as in the Teutoburg forest, with many examples to be found in oil painting of that time. The film soundtrack is Wagnerian in its decadent grandiosity, particularly in its final act, with the dynamic battle between the solo of the individual, as expressed by Batman, and the chorus of the collective mob, in a modern nihilistic battle between the freedom of the individual and equality of the herd. Zimmerman used the Gothic Cathedral Fugue technique to strike a dynamic contrast between the two in his music. In the past, men had a deep inward sense of being, and with this they felt a heavy burden to express themselves creatively. With an inward refinement, this development took on extraordinary forms philosophically, artistically, and spiritually. As the Western man has lost this connection with himself, he becomes more narcissistic and outward-leaning. As in Goethe's Faust, Western man has tired of this inward struggle and looked for meaning externally. Instead of adapting and changing to the world, Western man now wants the world to adapt and change to him. He has become the equality-loving, egalitarian, secular humanist world improver, and on the other hand, the anarchic freedom lover. Narcissism leads to totalitarian tendencies. Thus, Batman wants to control Gotham City, a symbol for the entire world. Through micromanaging everything with modern technology, Batman strives to control Gotham City with the impulse of a totalitarian. Like Faust, he finds that his efforts have unintended consequences. Instead of improving himself to adjust to the situation, he ignores the efficacy of his efforts and only works harder to change the world. This totalitarian tendency is seen everywhere today in the West, with endless government policies and the clear tendency of the government to use modern technology to control all aspects of life. Like Faust, Batman strives until he exhausts himself in his efforts and dies, finally finding his peace.